Yeah, exactly.
That's cool, man.
All right, we're live. Welcome, guys. So tonight I've done a lot of cool streams. I've been really lucky with guests. Greg Kreindler just the other day was amazing. But I got to tell you guys, this is literally my most anticipated live stream, at least until Mark McGwire comes on.
Yeah, exactly. No pressure, man.
All right. We're live. Okay, here we're getting, hold on. Okay, there we go.
Tonight, I've done a lot of cool streams.
I'm listening. I hear the echo right now. What is that coming from?
But I got to tell you guys,
oh, it's coming from here. Okay, here we go. All right, sorry guys. we were testing. We had a separate window. All right, so anyways, guys, Jeff Heckman, leader of Project 2020 at Topps, amazing dude. We're going to have an awesome conversation. A lot of you guys sent questions in ahead of time. Tony's got some printed out. He's got a couple that he's going to ask himself. So he's going to be kind of scooting in here for me in just a second. But Jeff, why don't you just say what's up to the people?
Hey, guys, what's happening? Blake, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it. And thanks for the nice intro. It was mostly not true, but appreciate it. And, I'm very excited, and it's cool to be on.
Awesome, man. Well, we're stoked to have you. I think we're going to have an amazing turnout tonight. I think a lot of people are excited, and it's so great to put a face to the brand. Is really great. And what everyone doesn't know is how much we are communicating, and you've just been honestly amazing to me. I meant to, before the stream started, I meant to look up the date that you emailed me, which was the start of the conversation from Project 2020, but literally I will look up that date sometime during the stream, but that date changed my life. And
you want to know? You know what I thought about as I was coming on? You know how I found you?
How?
I can talk about how the project started. And
I want to know that. Yes.
So I figured it out, right? I thought it was a Gary V thing since we've done stuff with Gary, but it actually was Paul Rabel.
Nice.
You know that? So I
didn't know that, but yeah, Paul's awesome.
So I follow Paul on Twitter, and I never played lacrosse, but I like watching it. And Paul, has done such cool things with the lacrosse league and great entrepreneur. So I just follow him, and I saw that he was posting artwork you did for him. So it was the second or third post I saw, and I was like, this is cool stuff. Yeah. This guy does athletes. I clicked on your site, and then I think I just went on the contact us page and sent you an email.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy. I don't know. I know you've seen a lot of the streams, and I've told my story, fortunately, to a lot of amazing outlets. But that week that you contacted me, I had actually decided. And it's funny how it's all full circle. So Greg Kreindler was the last guest on the show. I had saw him post a tweet about some work that he was doing with Topps, and I was like, man, that would be such a good fit. I would love to start doing more than just one painting for one athlete and really scale the business. And I grew up collecting baseball cards, so it just seemed like the best fit ever. So I actually was in the middle of doing research of who do I know that knows somebody at Topps, looking at my LinkedIn connections, looking at emailing, text messaging friends, specifically to try to work with Topps. And then it was in my email inbox, and you're like, hey, let's talk. And it's crazy, man.
Yeah, no, it's great how it all came together. And that's been the fun of it for me and for our whole team. I wish I had Brandon and Mike and some of those guys on the Zoom too, and maybe you'll get them on at some point. But just the interaction with the artists, the ability to find them, to pull it all together. Man, it's been cool. It's been fun. It's cool to get to know you, man. You're a great dude, and
thanks,
so are so many of the other artists. And Sophia, the woman, she's really cool as well. So it's been. It really hasn't felt like work for me. Topps is a job. It's it's Topps, so it's as far as jobs go, it's pretty fun. But this project has been by far the most fun I've had in the 8 years working here.
Dude, that's amazing. And I got to imagine, man, we have so much to get into tonight. But I think that just a good opening thing is just Project 2020 is so much more than I expected it to be. And I had high expectations, and I was very excited about it, but I never anticipated it to be what it is, where we're at right now. And I feel it's got to be the same case with you and the team at Topps. Did you guys have any idea that it would be what it is today?
No, not at all. I wish. I had high hopes for it. Let's put it that way. When it first, we first started working on it, and the genesis of the idea came at the end of last summer, where we were hey, let's, we're working on, 2020 stuff. Let's try something new, and we were kind of coming up with concepts, and we saw a lot of what, sneaker companies and streetwear had done in the collaboration space. So we were like, we have really cool cards in our work. Why can't we partner with some great artists and some great designers and do something similar? So for me, it was like, all right, hey, the year's 2020, so let's pick 20 cards. And then it was like, well, let's get 20 artists.
Yeah.
And at first, everyone was like, oh, that's a lot of artists. How are you going to get them all to sign up and figure it out and get the process going? And I was like, well, we got time. Let's see how we can put it together. But, long story short, like our expectations were, we knew we were going to run this a little bit like we'd run other programs where it was going to be a limited time, print on demand. But as far as what we would get to, never in a million years did I think we were going to get to where we were. I was hoping maybe we could get 10,000 cards from time to time, because we also from the beginning wanted it to be premium priced because it was art. So we didn't want it to just be like a standard card. So we wanted it to be like artwork, premium priced, put in cases and things like that. So it really stood out from other things that we were doing. So with it being premium priced, I was like, okay, it's a little bit of a high priced baseball card. What are going to people think about it? So, and then of course we had the pandemic hit right as we were getting ready to launch.
Right.
I forget if you were going to be part of it, but we were trying to do a little kickoff event in our office in New York.
Yeah.
The New York based artists.
Yeah.
That because, New York went into the lockdown, and then, the economy started to go the other way too. And I was like, oh goodness, this is just the wrong time for this baby that we put together. And, finally after like a week delay, we're like, it's 2020, people are home. It's e-commerce. We're not asking people to gather. Let's see if we can do this. And, oh man, it's blown away everyone's expectations in the company. Is like probably the best thing we've ever done in the 8 years I've been here. I've talked to guys that have been here for 20, and they're just like, I've never seen anything like it.
Neither is anyone else, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's guys like you. It's the art. There's just a lot of things that have come together to make it what it is. And the crazy thing is, we're like a third through the program, and we still have 2/3 left. And it's wild, man.
Yeah, awesome, man. So something jumped out to me. You said, we're gonna make premium product. Nice case, nice card. I think the quality is amazing. Like the 130 points are just so gorgeous. And it's funny from like your perspective and from a lot of card collectors' perspective, like $20 is a lot for a card. But I think that, and I think part of the reason that this is taking a life of its own is that like, I think you guys did such a good job curating a well-rounded bunch of people that all have audiences outside of the baseball card collecting hobby. And to those people, like I've never sold a tiny painting for $20, a print or otherwise. And so like all of my collectors look at that and they're like, oh my gosh, like I can get a print for $20. I could get 10 of them for $145. Like I've never sold art that cheap. And so like on one hand, it isn't expensive for a baseball card, but if you're looking at it as like tiny pieces of art, it's actually very, very affordable. And I think that that's been like, you guys really hit the sweet spot in like getting together the right group of artists that all were, I know Tyson Beck made some baseball cards before and has his kind of audience that was already relevant, but so many people outside of the hobby that you guys brought in and all those audiences. And the cool thing is like everyone collected cards in the 80s and 90s and they're all busting out their cards. They're stuck at home. Like it just like the timing, like I had the same thought as you of like kind of getting scared to be like, oh man, everyone's like out of work and this is a challenging time to launch any business. But I think that in the grand scheme of things, I think we lucked out. And like the fact that there's no baseball to watch right now makes people really fiend for baseball, and they can find it at 1 o'clock every day on Topps.com, which is just amazing. I mean, you're right. I mean, you touched on a lot of things. I mean, we intentionally looked for artists that were outside of, sports and even trading cards. And again, some that have done collaborations before, others that, we just saw and the team had kind of seen their artwork and were inspired by. But that was really the whole goal. And I think has really come to bear is to find the fans and the collectors of the art that have come into trading cards. And maybe they used to collect, maybe they've never collected, maybe they're sports fans, maybe they aren't. But I know that we've gotten a lot of new users. I see the data, and it's hard to say like what kind of people they are because we only ask for your address and your email. We don't ask for your date of birth or anything like that. So it's hard to, kind of understand the demographics, so to speak. But anecdotally,
we hear a lot of people be like, oh man, this guy came to me and he's big in the art world, or artists like you tell me all the time, like $20, man. I mean, I sell things for thousands of dollars.
Right.
People can't really get my kind of stuff. And it's been cool too. I think you're right. With the pandemic, it's really gotten people to be really excited about this, with unfortunately not a whole lot else going on. And even the artists themselves, like it's really given them something to galvanize around, to do, to put out to their fans, to engage with the trading card, that whole crowd and that whole group. So I mean, like, the pandemic's probably helped. And it's, it's weird to say, because I know it's been so awful for so many people, but for trading cards, it's certainly been something that has helped more people re-engage with their collection, buy new things like Project 2020, give them something to come to the website and look and be like, whose cards are dropping today? What player is it? What's their interpretation of the card's going to be? So yeah, man, it's been cool.
Yeah. I'm getting this weird like echo when I talk. I can hear it on yours. I just put in headphones to see if I could stop it, but it didn't do it.
Right.
I don't know. Hopefully for everyone else it sounds okay. It's not that big of a deal. It's like this little thing.
Okay.
No,
yeah, I would say I'm in like a second bedroom. My audio since the whole thing is
no worries.
It's been like it's no good. So yeah,
I think it sounds fine. I don't see anyone complaining about it. I'm just
all right.
And like this is something that I'm going to save and have forever. And I just
no. I was on a radio show.
Yeah,
and the guy recorded me and then we did it, and it was like such bad audio, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So
I think it sounds good. No one said anything. I'm just, like I said, I'm a sticker.
All right.
Okay, that's awesome. So I'll tell you what. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of comments. I just want to kind of address a couple things super quick and just let people know. And then actually, this is a good time to talk about that eBay thing too, which I told you I was going to mention real quick. So everyone, I see all your guys' comments. By the way, Jackson, what is up? Jackson is my nephew. He is 4.5. And an amazing aspiring artist, and he's been painting some baseball cards too, and he's got his collection. So I just want to give a shout out to him.
Hey Blake, send me Jackson's address. We'll send him some trading cards.
Yeah, I will. Yes. Oh my gosh.
We'll get him a care package.
That'll be so cool. Okay, I'll do that.
Send my address too?
Yeah, Tony wants a care package.
I know Tony's address.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, I just want to put this out here. Like, we're gonna get into everything tonight. I don't have any cutoff time. I don't know if you do, Jeff, but we're going to talk about everything, guys. I know there's a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We will get to everything. We're just warming up. So what's going to happen now? I'm going to talk about this brand new eBay charity auction that I'm doing. And this is a sidebar from my conversation with Jeff tonight. I told Jeff I was going to plug this a little bit. I'm just really excited about this. Can you grab up by the projector to the left of it? There's the magazine and the card itself. Perfect. So I am partnering with Peter Stuyvesant Little League and Frontline New York. So it's charity auction that is doing food for the frontline here in New York. Food for the first responders. Partnering with Peter Stuyvesant Little League, also in New York. And we are auctioning off these on eBay, and these are one of ones. So it's a Mark McGwire. It's signed in 3 colors: red, white, and blue. And then we also have the matching Beckett cover, red, white, and blue. They both say one of one. They are true one of ones. I will never sign any combination like this at all. That's on eBay. The link is down below this. And cool. I'm sorry?
They got it. Yeah,
they got it. Okay, great. Anyways, we're going to be talking about this throughout the project. We're working with Brian Gonzalez and the Viking Worldwide. God, this is just, my phone is just blowing up. Oh, eBay notifications. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Already getting bids. So that's great. Okay, eBay's blowing up.
Nice.
So this is going to be going until Friday night. It's going to end Friday night on the stream. I will mention it a couple more times during the stream. We are going to get back to the conversation with Jeff. And with that, God, you guys take me off the group message. Okay. We have this like team group chat text, and it's just like these guys are just chatting all the time, which is great. Like I have the best team. They work so hard, and we have so much to do, and like they're crushing it. But I hate group text messages, so I'm trying not to do that. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I know that Tony has a couple questions that he wants to ask you, so I'm gonna actually swap out for Tony. He'll go through those. I think. Did you run in through them?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go for it. Okay,
yeah.
You guys know what you're doing.
I
Okay.
got softballs.
Tony's coming in with some softballs, And then
All
we're
right,
going to
good.
come up with some curveballs or whatever. We have a bunch of fan questions printed out
stuff.
that we've done. And Matt is also going to come in later in the stream. He's going to be doing live questions live here on the YouTube. He's going to be monitoring Twitter, Instagram, whatever. So I'm going to swap out for Tony. Give Tony the floor for a couple minutes.
Sure.
But yeah, dude, Jeff, this is so cool, bro.
Dude, I like it. You're bringing in the reliever, man. I hope he's not like a sidearm guy or throwing any junk at me,
Yeah, well, you never know. Tony's a wild card, but he's got a dope shirt, and he got me this shirt today.
Tori got that.
Tori, shout out Tori. Thank you, Tori.
Dude, that's
all right. So we'll just swap places. Yeah, this is awesome. Also, Jackson, I love you, buddy. Stay awesome. Okay, I'll be back in 5.
Hey, Jeff.
I didn't know you guys had the same shirt on, Tony. You guys are
my
twins.
wife got us some matching Bash Brothers shirts.
There you go.
So shout out to Tori.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna run the SG.
Great. So tell me, Jeff, you spoke a little bit about how you chose the artists. Tell me how you chose the 20 players that you picked for the project.
So we looked back through when we first started doing cards in 51 through Topps and tried to find the most iconic cards. Certainly we had to figure out the rights because some of the players that are no longer playing, we don't have the rights to all of those cards. So, we started with what we thought was the list of iconic cards, and then we looked at who we had rights to. I think the list when we started was probably, 30 or 40 players.
Okay.
And we wanted it to really stand the test of time. So we looked at it, and there were some tough cuts. There was definitely like when we got to 25, we could have gone a lot of different directions with it. But once we had the players, then we wanted to find the right cards for them. Most of them are rookies. Not all of them, though. Some of them are just, the most recognized cards or cards that you show people, and no matter what time they were collecting, no matter how old they were, are just very recognizable in the hobby.
Okay. Tell me, so Mickey Mantle, rookie, that's probably one of the most iconic rookie cards. Why not that card?
We don't have the rights of Mantle's estate anymore.
Okay.
So
what about Derek Jeter? So there was a lot of speculation at the beginning of the project. People were saying, oh, maybe Derek Jeter was cut, and kind of nothing was said for a few weeks. What happened during that time period?
We just we had a deal with Derek, and the deal came to expire, and we were working on another one, and we just couldn't announce it till the deal was signed. So just one of those things. It was we knew we were going to do it, but as these things work, until pens on paper and stuff, just gotta wait until I get the green light to do it. So that was how it went.
Great. Tell me more about how Topps is trying to improve the customer experience on the website, from combating bots to improving, the website working when the cards come out at 12:30 or 1 o'clock. What are some of the things you guys have done over the last couple months?
Yeah, I'd say it's still a work in progress. It's never quite to the point that we would like it to be. We'd love it to always be flawless, great user experience for everyone that goes on, orders a card, gets it quickly, gets the order notification. As you mentioned in the beginning, after probably the first week or two, once, this started to gain a lot of traction, we started to get a lot more traffic to the site. A lot of it was bot traffic that was coming to the site. And for those familiar with bots, they just send a lot of requests to the site and really just bring the site and the speed down, kind of brings it to its knees. So we've invested a lot in new software and upgrades to the website to get rid of malicious bots. Now, I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, bots are there, they get all the AP cards. And what I will say is through our software, it's not bot software that's buying it. Now, people have a lot of things that mimic bots, that mimic humans, that are monitoring things that aren't detected as bots. So are those people, able to use that to get APs and other autograph cards and things we have on Topps? Yes. We do go and look and try and cancel orders when we see people abusing the terms and conditions and policies. But, the bot software that came in, I think, end of April, beginning of May, that's made a dramatic improvement. We've also worked with our servers and people that do hosting for the websites on, expanding our capacity, on doing different architecture to really help out the site. Other than that, I feel like the way the cards are displayed in the checkout, we feel it's pretty straightforward. I'm sure there's things that we could always do to improve it, and always open to suggestions on that.
Okay. I know you don't have a customer service, but I definitely hear a lot of fans talking about quality control and getting cards without bubble wrap or cases that are scratched, or they'll call customer service and get hung up on after long hold times. Can you talk to any of that stuff?
Well, I think there's two questions in there. I think number one, as far as like bubble wrap and scratch cases, like every company, you know, COVID-19 has affected Topps and really affected our supply chain. So a lot of the supplies that we had no problems getting before, you know, the pandemic and then COVID really hit in America, end of February, beginning of March, we've really gotten a shortage on that. So like bubble wrap in particular, one of our suppliers ran out. So there was a brief period where a couple cards came without bubble wrap. So, you know, the decision was made that, hey, let's keep getting cards out the door rather than having continued delays. So bubble wrap shouldn't be a problem. Cases, I'm sure that will come up. You know, cases, we had to order what we thought would supply us for the month, and we were going to continue to order them every month. As the volume has exceeded all of our expectations, we've had an extreme struggle getting cases. Without getting specific, some of the biggest manufacturers that manufacture cases, their yearly volume was 40,000 cases.
Wow.
Blake has done more than 40,000 for one, if not two of his cards. So we've had extreme challenges trying to get cases. We've had to use some domestic suppliers that did stuff for eTopps. We've thought about buying plastic suppliers. A lot of the cases are manufactured out of China. So even though China's back up and running, getting things on boats, planes, capacity to get them over to America has been really challenged. I think we will be in a much better place mid-July than we have been, so that will help. Cases are very condition sensitive. Even as they come over to Topps, we look at them and they have marks on them. So imagine taking them out, putting a card in, putting them into a box. If they rattle around, they're very condition sensitive. You know, as far as the cards go in the QA, as the volume's increased, we do have a team that looks at it. But yeah, there are times when cards don't come out as we like. You know, and then, you know, customer service, you're right, I don't manage that. I know there gets a ton of requests as the volume has come up. You know, there's things that happens with people's order that's deep, things that happen with postal, there's things that happen with card conditioning. So keep trying. Customer service is doing their best. I know they're not trying to hang up on people, trying not to answer emails. Just with the way that this program is blown up, everyone's doing their best to try and keep pace.
Great. Last question I have. Obviously, COVID is a big issue now, but what are Topps' plans to get the artists together for different events, you know, maybe at baseball stadiums or having an art gallery show? Any plans on that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the biggest disappointments for me, business-wise. Again, not taking anything away from what everyone's going through and struggling with COVID, but we had a lot of really great plans for the artists to get together. We have a lot based in New York. We have a lot based in LA. Heck, we have a number of them overseas. But I told you about the event we were going to do in New York. Major League Baseball was opening their store right across from Radio City Music Hall. They were going to do all sorts of events where artists were going to come, have their cards drop, sign things. Of course, that's all canceled. In Miami, there's a possibility for Art Basel, the show that happens in December. Blake probably knows more of it than I do. But Major League Baseball and people have come to us about doing things there. And if it's on and it's safe, we'd love to do it. Although every report you hear out of Florida now is, I wouldn't say very encouraging. And then beyond that, I do think there are some things at art galleries with all the artists, with potentially some new cards that we are working really hard on trying to do. And hopefully in the next couple of months, you'll see some stuff for Topps where you can get together and see the artists sometime in 2021. Artists can bring their original art, any other art they want, and we can have a really cool gathering for everyone to celebrate what Project 2020 is and will become.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Jeff. I think Blake's going to come back. Matt has some fan questions that he wants to ask. I'll email you my P.O. box for my Topps care package.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right.
Thanks again, Jeff.
All right, Tony. Appreciate it, man.
Take care.
Tony, will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
We fill up this water from that water jug over there. Thank you, bro. All right. Hey, I see Tess is in here.
Clippers back in.
Yeah, exactly. Just needed a little pinch hitter for a second. What is up, Tess? Alex Kent. Hey, pretty big news. Matt's in the building. Oh man, awesome. Yeah, let's see. So I heard I ran to the other studio. I heard the tail end of that about the post Project 2020 events. I think that would be so cool. I think honestly, and like I said, this is so much more than I ever anticipated it would be. And one of those things that I think has been one of the happy surprises is connecting with the other artists and building those relationships. So Gregory Siff is a great example. I've followed that dude since I became a full-time artist. He's one of my favorite artists in the world and has been for a long time. And so when I got the lineup and I saw that he was part of it and I was part of it, I was really excited, and that's brought us together. And now, we literally text multiple times today, just showing each other cards and progress and talking about process and, expanding our businesses. It's just, it's so cool, man. It's such a cool part of this project. And I can't even believe it. We're 1/3 of the way. It's just,
for me and for, the guys at Tops, and just looking at it close and from afar, it's awesome to see how you guys are all communicating, collaborating. Guys are coming on your show, Sophia as well. It's awesome. I mean, it's so cool how excited the artists have been with this program, because, you're right. You guys are in the art world, but we're in the trading card world. And, I always think that we're looking at it and we're like, look, we're not Nike, everyone, including me, I played sports growing up. It's if Nike calls you, it's you made it, right? Yeah. So when we were going out and talking to artists, we were like, okay, it's Tops trading cards, and we hope everyone gets really excited about it. And it's just totally blown us away in the engagement and the excitement and even the artwork. I mean, we're extremely lucky and blessed to get to see it beforehand. But man, there's not a time where I don't laugh or text the guys and be like, check this out. This is incredible. Just seeing what everyone puts out, on a daily basis is cool, man.
I love it. So cool. By the way, right before I walked away, I plugged that auction, and it's up to $3,150.
You're gonna blow away. You're gonna blow away where you were hoping to get, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, so we're shooting for $5,000 because Brian Gonzalez of Viking Global Foundation, they're matching 300% up to $5,000. So if that card sells for $5,000, we're gonna give $20,000 to Food for the Front Lines and Peter Stuyvesant Little League. So that's so amazing. By the way, guys, if you're coming in, link down below the video. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm not sure I can afford $3,000, but
neither can I, man. It's crazy.
Send me a link. I'll donate to donate to the cause. Yeah, my son plays Little League. I think it's a great cause. I'm happy to do it.
That's awesome, man. And you bring up a great point. It's crazy. For example, I want my APs or I want my golds, and sometimes I just don't buy enough of my own cards where I want my own cards, and I'm going on eBay and seeing some of these secondary market prices, and I'm just like, holy crap, I can't even afford my own baseball card anymore. And we just started. It's wild, man. It's just oh man, I don't even there's no words for it. It's so crazy.
The secondary market has been something else. At Tops, we don't really follow or monitor it closely. I know I don't that much. I'll see stuff on social media, or you might mention eBay, or someone might post something on a message board, but I'm not going in there and looking and seeing, because the secondary market's between buyers and sellers, right? Tops is we don't do anything there. So certainly I like to see people finding value in these cards, but I think in particular this secondary market, for what I've seen, has been a roller coaster, man. It's been volatile. As I said earlier, we're 1/3 of the way through, so we hope this card set stands the test of time. So I just feel hey, it's print on demand, so whatever people order, they order. Hopefully people can eventually get their cards. But yeah, one thing I didn't mention to Tony, in addition to some of the bot traffic we've gotten, there's still only 20 AP cards. So I have a lot of customers that'll email me and they're like, I can't get them. And I'm like, do you know how many people are on the website? These cards
Right.
between 11:30 and like 1:30.
Right.
Like, we've never seen traffic like this before we did Project 2020. We just haven't. And it's so awesome that we have it. But even if we magically eliminated every single person that was doing, using monitoring programs, it's still only 20 people that are on there. They still sell out like that.
Yeah.
So it's true supply and demand. And hey, it's cool to see that they have a lot of value on the secondary. I wish all artists got them, and I wish the golds were easier to find, but I guess that's why they're 1-of-1s, right?
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, we gotten a lot of shipments, as you know, to the studio. I'm collecting the whole set, as well as, obviously a bunch of my own cards. And like, I keep thinking we're going to hit gold one day, because I've seen people hit gold on like ordering one card. And I got my gold Don Mattingly. That was the first card he ordered from Project 2020. He ordered a one card and he got the gold. And I'm like, man, we've been getting a lot of cards through the studio in and out. And
I know, man. There's like what, 250 to go or something like that, or 260. So like, hopefully you'll luck out. I saw the Tyson pulled one. I saw that Tyson.
Yeah, on his live stream, he pulled his Griffey, which is such a good one to pull.
I know, and everyone's like, "Oh, you planted that," and it's like, I don't think we could do it if we tried.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I believe it.
Yeah, cool for him, man. I mean, like, we'd make sure you guys were all pulling it where you were live streaming and doing all that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Every time we have a box, even if we're not doing it on live stream, if we're ripping anything, whether it's other artist cards that I bought or my own cards, like, we've got a camera on because we're just waiting for that moment. We're ready. We've got we're also recording everything because, I think a documentary is just bound to happen one way or the other.
I think you're right. I hope there's something that we could get in the works to make it happen. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that like, it's crazy. So did you watch the Mark McGwire, The Long Gone Summer?
Yep.
Nice. So how, I feel, and this might be giving, I don't want to give myself too much credit, but like the artists and Tops and like this whole idea, like how Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire breathed life back into baseball and really like gave it its second wind during that home run, Matt's over here just cracking up. Yeah, right? You just coughing?
I'm burping. Yeah.
I thought he was laughing at me. I feel like Project 2020 and what it's done for the card collecting hobby is going to be like, people are going to look back and be like, it mattered, and whether, and that has not even necessarily any impact on like the long term of like, I think, like I said, as tiny pieces of art, I think for $20, these are great investments. If you believe in the artist, I think that you're like you have an art collection that has a story, right? And it means something to you and even if it's just in your PC, it's a great thing to have. But I think that like, even from the financial standpoint down the road, this is going to be a really good thing. And people are going to look back on it kind of like, the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire thing, where it's like, good thing we had that to get everyone excited about baseball again. And like, now it's like, hey, remember when we didn't have baseball, but we had this other thing that like got so many people back into the hobby. It's like, I don't know. I think it's documentary worthy for sure, but.
Well, I mean, I know that, you've gotten contacted by a lot of media and a lot of people, even McGwire himself, that have, and at Tops we have as well too. So I think you're right. I think the interest in this set is much more than, people that are, typically buying trading cards, even sports fans. I mean, it's really crossed across so many genres into so many new audiences and people. And it's like, again, it's probably fueled by the fact that people for a few months have been home and there's not a whole lot else to do. And it's given people a small amount of joy. And I mean, if that's what
a large amount of joy,
I mean, yes, true.
Yeah, you should actually read that email to Jeff.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, from Claire. Okay. So we're gonna do a little swap, not necessarily a full swap, and I'm gonna stay here.
Where is it?
Oh yeah, you got to pull it up.
Okay,
so Matt.
Keep going.
So like I said, this project has given me these opportunities to take my business to places that I never knew that it would go to, and part of that is like, in doing that, I built this amazing team of people, Tony being one of them. Matt Costello is amazing. And so he's also going to be fielding a bunch of fan questions. He's been aggregating some questions from Twitter, Mostly Twitter.
Mostly Twitter.
It's
also YouTube stream.
And YouTube stream. But he read this email to me today, and it was from a fan, and it was this guy who basically started watching the stream, saw me like splatter painting on cards that I'm calling card art, which has been like a super fun, also like side hustle outside of, not even hustle, side project that
Got it.
we're just giving these art cards away. But this girl, Claire, who is how old?
I think 4.
4, started painting on cards. I know that like my nephew, oh, awesome. We have Sophia Chang in the building.
Oh,
Hey, what's up, Sophia and Gregory?
Sophia.
Dude, we gotta do the roundtable. I know you guys have talked about
No,
it.
I
gotta
you know,
get those guys.
Brandon's working on trying to set something up virtual. Did he reach out to you?
Yeah, he did. And I told him I'm down
Yeah.
for every. I mean,
Yeah. We're trying in a virtual setting. We'd love to be able to get all you guys together and chat and for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry to get sidetracked. I'm like, there's so much to be excited about. But he was reading this email today about how this guy and his daughter Claire were. I'm gonna have you read it because I think you're good. Yeah, you're better at reading than me. Anyways, in terms of like changing lives and stuff, I feel like this is impactful and awesome, right? We'll just switch places.
Do a little trading places.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What's up, everybody? I just want to say,
Oh wow.
shout out to Roberto Clemente,
Nice.
one of my favorite players of all time.
Yeah.
Also a great human being.
So I'm staying here this time.
Blake-
I am here. I'm just
Blake-
on the side.
Blake is still here,
Yeah,
so he didn't run away.
Yeah.
So I'll just quickly read
Yeah.
this email that Blake just mentioned. Also, I'm getting a haircut tomorrow, so enjoy the giant bush of hair on my head while you can. First haircut in 5 months. Very excited about that. Okay. So here's the email from Chris K. Hey, man, I can't get over the stream last night. I watched with my daughter today, Claire of Claire Cards. She was in tears. She said, Daddy, he knows my name. Am I famous? Then I read her all the nice comments on Twitter and in the chat. Blown away. I think I got 30 new followers wanting Claire Cards last night. It may be difficult to say or understand. You guys really have no idea the impact you're having on society. When all life seems down, it's the ray of sun and positivity coming through. You made my little girl smile so big she kissed her babysitter and gave me the biggest daddy hug ever. Truly, thank you. This may sound silly, and you get this all the time, but add another to the list of lifelong fans of you guys. Thank you so much, Chris. That was just part of the email. There's more.
Awesome.
And I mean, as Blake mentioned, I mean, I was a big card collector as a kid, and I got back into it from Project 2020. So
Yeah.
it's been awesome.
Well, they're living proof of it. We've heard a lot of people that, it's kind of got them to be back engaged with trading cards, and whether they buy one Project 2020 card or they buy certain artists or their favorite player. Yeah. I mean, there's so many stories that we've heard about that, that was the goal, right? Like, how do you make trading cards? I mean, I'm a kid I was born, a long time ago, but I collected in the 80s.
You don't seem that old.
I don't. But I always wanted to be like, how does Topps get back to what it was in the 80s, right? Like when it was like trading cards in baseball was like everywhere. It was the social currency.
Yeah.
And trading cards have had a huge resurgence over the last 10 years. They totally have. But hell, I want trading cards to be like, video games, I want it to be like, Nike. I want it to be like the coolest thing. And I think, Project 2020 and some of the things that Topps have done recently have started to get it back there, which is just a small part of what we hope to do.
Absolutely. I totally agree with everything you just said. Before we get into some of the more difficult questions, what has surprised you?
Can I plead the fifth on some of those?
You absolutely can. That's your right as a citizen and a Topps employee. So,
all right, cool.
What surprised you the most, just before we get into the more difficult questions?
Surprised me the most about Project 2020?
Yes.
It's
been the print runs, the success?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think so. Yeah, I mean,
you tell me.
Probably the print runs. I mean, the print runs, and then how they just started exponentially going up. They just sort of exploded. Like how quickly, and how fast they exploded. I would say.
Okay. Was there like a tipping point, do you think, kind of in terms of the print runs? Because they were still pretty low through the first 30, 40 cards or so.
I don't know. I don't. I don't know that there's like one event or tipping point. Really, I think it was a lot of things building up that just sort of built and built and built. And I know, people look at the Keith Shore Griffey card doing 99,000.
Yeah.
That came right off Memorial Day. And I remember I was with my family and we were, just, walking along the Brooklyn Bridge doing our social distancing thing. And, guys on my team were texting me. They're like, you should see the sales for this card. And I was like, really? I was like, on Memorial Day? And then I went home at night and I was like, I was just like, wow. I mean, this is incredible. But I think before that, they were definitely building in the right direction. And I think whether it was Memorial Day, whether it was momentum, but I think what happened is people just kind of were, at home. And usually people Memorial Day are traveling or they're out with family and they weren't. And maybe it just all kind of crescendoed and came together. And, and Keith had a really cool card and everyone loves Griffey and the stars aligned and there we were. So I don't know, but you're right. I mean, as in April, it was kind of at a certain level and it kind of crept up and it was building and some of the bigger name players had bigger print runs than some of the other guys. And then they just all started going up.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably print runs for sure.
Okay. Makes sense. Here's a question I've seen from a few people. Have you ever thought or considered limiting print runs for cards?
I get that question a lot, and I've even gotten it from people at Topps, and I'm vehemently against it. For me, this is 48 hours, print on demand, $19.99. It's a true card and market where if people want to buy the card, they have the ability to buy it for $19.99 or lower if they want to buy more than one. If we start getting into capping print runs, that's what Topps does for a lot of their products, and then it becomes a totally different kind of offering. And if we cap it at a certain number, whether you want to say 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, what do you price it at? Do you dynamically price it? Do you still just price it at $19? Like, no, I don't want to do that. I really want it to be that if people want to order 1,500, 15,000, 150,000, let them order whatever they want to order. And the 48-hour window is the 48-hour window.
If you had difficulty ensuring, what's the right word? The cases and kind of the overall artistic value of the cards would that, I guess if the print runs were so massive that it affected the ability to create the cards the way you want them, would that maybe impact that consideration?
Potentially. I mean, it's hard to say.
That's a hypothetical.
Yeah,
and that's kind of,
hypothetical. I think we're a long way away from that. As I, answered Tony's questions, like,
sure,
from a printing standpoint, like, there's not a ton of capacity issues. Now, these are 130 point cards, so they are not, printed as fast as some of our other things, and they are handled with a lot more care. But, I don't know that we're ever going to get to a point where it's like, geez, we're going to have to like cap it because the quality is going to go to a certain point, or I still think we're going to eventually get the cases. If something else happens in the world or something happens with the manufacturers and that changes, then I guess we can have a different conversation at that point. But nothing I'm seeing is going to make us cap the print runs at this point.
Makes sense. One question that a lot of people had, and I'm not sure if you can answer this, but I know Tony asked a really good question about how you selected the 20 players for the project. I was wondering, is there any chance you could share maybe players 21 through 25 or anyone who might have just missed the cut?
I won't rank them, but I'll.
Okay, yeah. Don't have to rank them.
I'll tell you some other cards that we considered.
Yes.
Some other cards that we considered. So 54 Ernie Banks. I believe that was his rookie. That was close.
Nice.
Rhino. I know there was some Cubs love out there. So Rhino's 83 Topps was in the running. There was a couple current players that we looked at. We really wanted this to be some of the greatest players of all time. And I think there's some current players that, not that we don't think they're good, it's just, hard to predict where, their careers are going to go and going to be. We looked at some Hank Aaron stuff, and we wasn't that Hank wasn't a good player. There were some other factors that, with Hank, we didn't move forward with Hank's cards. Who else is on the list? Reggie Reggie Jackson was pretty close.
Yeah.
There's some A's cards, there's some Yankees cards for Reggie that were considered and were looked at. There's some cards too from the 80s. There's a lot of cards from the 80s, so we wanted to make sure we had a good, choice. There's some other cards from the 70s, like Robin Yount's. Yount's card is pretty iconic, pretty famous. We didn't go with one of Yount's cards. I don't have a list in front of me. I think that's pretty good.
Oh, that's
we would
great.
have liked to do Puckett and Clemens.
Clemens?
Clemens was considered. Puckett was considered. Those guys were looked at.
You mentioned current players. Obviously, Trout is the only current player in this 20 among the 20 players.
Why not Buster?
I don't know if you heard Blake, but why not Buster Posey?
Oh, yeah. My boss is
You
a
don't have
huge
to answer that.
fan, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, Buster's a great player, but
You don't have to answer that. He's just teasing.
I hear you. I hear you.
He does PC Buster.
Why not the 85 McGwire?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you do. Were there any are there any current players you could mention who were potentially considered?
Bryce was close.
Yeah.
Otani
Great.
because of his global appeal, but he's
Absolutely.
still pretty young in the game.
Very young.
Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah.
Looked at Cabrera. Trying to think if there were any other current guys that really came big on the list. I mean, those were Bryce and Otani were probably closest.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. That's really interesting. I've got a question from a fan. This is from Derek, DE9257 on Twitter. Have there been any plans to include Project 2020 style card art as inserts in future products outside of the project? Didn't think so. Yeah, didn't think so. Okay, awesome. I have another question from a fan. This is from, this is from actually a bunch of people. Anshul Puri from VLM, who is Count the Rings on Twitter, from Richard Leonard, who is Brianna's dad on Twitter. And I know Tony asked about this, and you answered it quite well, just about quality issues in terms of the one touches and the scratches. I guess, do you feel that Topps is doing a good job with quality control on the whole?
Yeah, I mean, I work at Topps, so
Sure.
I think we're doing the best we can. I think there's room for improvement.
Sure.
I know that it's something that we care deeply about.
Yeah.
But with working remote and having to adhere to safety protocols, I do think we're doing our best. And if you do have a card that does have issues, email or call customer service, and we will get to it and we will take care of it. I guess my point of view on the cases is the cases, just given the way that they're made, and I'm not a manufacturing expert by any standpoint, but talking to the lady that runs, kind of our quality control and that, is in charge of procuring our cases, she tells me just how sensitive they are. So I think to me, if the card has damage, yes, let's fix the card.
For sure.
If the case has damage, I think it depends on what the case's damage is. If there's some scratching and stuff, I wish they were all perfect. I really do. If they're like chunks taken out of a case, we'll kind of replace cases. So I think it's, no pun intended, a case-by-case basis when it comes to how we're doing with quality control. I think we're doing all right, above average.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and just to back up what Jeff did say, we get lots of one touches here in the studio, and many of them, even brand new, before we take them out of the plastic, are scratched. Yeah. So that's true. That's unavoidable. Yeah.
We put a bunch off to the side, like the worst one.
Sure.
Go off to the side. So it's just the way those are done. And Absolutely. If you look at the way one touches are delivered, they get delivered in the brick.
Yep.
It's like a brick. So they're not necessarily meant to withstand being put into even a bubble mailer and a regular mail through the mail system. They're not, yes, they're plastic and they're not going to damage your card, but it doesn't mean that the cases, unfortunately, might not have a scratch or a ding here or there. And I'm not, excusing it. I'm sure people are going to be like,
I know you're not.
You guys got to do better. And I'm with you. We'll try and do the best we possibly can on cases.
For sure. It's also, as you mentioned, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. It is, a time unlike any other. So, no, I think that's a totally fair answer, Jeff. Appreciate it. Question from JLA, J Andrade 702 on Twitter. Any talks about changing the AP sales structure to where there's less of a chance of a bot getting them?
No, and we've looked at it. And I know people want us to put them in the print run, because we started making them for sale separately. We feel pretty strongly about keeping it that way. And I know people do complain that people that seem like they have bots get them or they're gone like that.
Sure.
And again, it comes down to traffic. It comes down to, and it's not just a Topps issue. And again, I'm not saying that it's not something we're not trying to solve, but you talk to any product company or any company that has something that's scarce, and they deal with a lot of people that, high demand, and people that are, getting the cards that, are flipping them or doing other things with them. So we try as best we can. I'd love, throughout the course for everyone to get 2020, like an AP card that could possibly get one. But, the way we structured it and set it up from the beginning, keeping it limited, that's the way we want to keep it going forward. The gold is the chase card within the set. So to put the 2020s in, I think it waters it down a little bit. And I think, too, we've already established the precedent of putting that for sale on the site.
Okay.
Has anyone asked about Project 2021, 22? Like, what's the next?
I don't think so. Has Blake I don't know if you heard what Blake just said. Has anyone talked about Project 2021, 2022? Is this something that you could see Topps doing again in the future?
So we've been asked a ton by a lot of people. And as long as I'm at Topps and as long as I have a say, there will be no Project 2021.
Wow.
Will there be other art collaborations that Blake will be a part of in 2021? Yes, but they will be very different from Project 2021. Hopefully Blake will be a part of it. Hopefully we can, have him be a part of it, and he's got the capacity, and and his agent's friendly and all that good stuff. Just kidding, Blake. No, yes, we do have some plans for something I think that is very cool for next year. It's still coming together. I think it has the potential to be even bigger than 2020, but 2020 is always going to be the first, always going to be the original. It will be very different in the way that we do it next year. The way that I'm hoping that, I'm seeing it planned from behind the scenes at Topps.
Awesome. You heard it here first. There will be no Project 2021 next year, according to Jeff. So
I hope not. I mean, we're not trying to. I think that it's successful, but I think part of what makes it unique, I want to keep unique. And I don't want to just bring it back with 21 new players or 21 new artists or whatever you want to do. Or no, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Have they asked that yet or no?
I don't know, Tony. Okay, here's a question from Octavio, who's on the chat. Do you have a PC, Jeff?
I don't know if you can tell. I'm a White Sox guy.
Yes, could tell.
You can kind of see. So I grew up in Chicago.
Nice.
Back in the days of winning ugly. So that'll tell you a little bit how old I am. This is going to sound very weird, but I do not collect cards. I collected in the 80s. I gave it up in the 90s. And since I've been at Topps, I just don't collect. I kind of am into like vintage tees and stuff like that. So my favorite player.
2020s?
What's that?
You getting 2020s or what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
What?
just because they should go to the fans, right? They should go to the fans. They should go to the fans, man. I love them.
I'll tell you what, and this is a pretty solid deal. If you promise that you will buy one of each of the rest of my cards, I will give you everything that's out right now. I'll catch you up.
Oh my God.
It's pretty good.
Another challenge I have for it is in my apartment, my wife is like, they got no clutter. So like
You can store them here. You can store them here at the studio.
All right. You're trying to get me over. Like, I have this VHS collection that I like every time we move or do stuff. She's like, you got to get rid of this. And I'm like, no. I was like, I don't care if these things are worth a penny. I'm keeping these VHS things. But here's what I will show you, Blake. And I'm going to, show you something that I think I can find.
Hold want to know what that art is above the door. Too.
Everyone's
I'm gonna
very
ask about that
everyone's
as well.
very intrigued by this, Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a prototype.
Oh!
You can see.
Oh, okay. I mean,
This is a prototype,
but I wish you
and
with mine.
Blake, we're trying. I think I told people in one of the interviews we're trying to come out with wall art at some point. We're just trying to really perfect it, figure out when the right time to do it
Hold
is.
that up to the camera. Hold that up to the camera. Nice. Everyone, take a screenshot. Let's make this happen,
This
man.
is actually,
That's
so again,
amazing.
this is a sample. This is a prototype. It's signed by Cartoon. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh,
Man.
So, yeah.
how much is that?
What's that?
How much is that one? Because I want it.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is sitting in my apartment. My
Hey,
son
if your
wants to
wife
put
has
up
got
a
to get
wall.
rid of it.
Yeah, Matt, you're a big Clemente guy. I mean, I love Clemente.
Yeah,
So,
Jeff, these cards are much
yeah.
smaller than that. So if your
I
wife,
know. The thing that I would do with this, Matt, is I would buy a few and put them on my wall. And when I, move to a bigger place, I definitely would get, one of each. Or if we do a collage of all that, I'm much more of a wall art guy than a trading card guy. But my
Okay,
piece,
speaking of moving into a bigger place,
what's
and
that?
sorry if this is off limits, you could tell me, but are you incentivized that? I mean, this project is taking off, right? And as an artist, we get royalties. I think is very generous. It's awesome. I didn't expect the royalties to be what they're at because the print runs are beyond all of our expectations. Are you personally being taken care of by Topps because the project is so successful, so that you can get your bigger apartment, you get your man cave popping, and we can get you a PC going? Like, is Topps doing that?
I'm gonna plead the
Say no
fifth.
comment.
I'm gonna plead the fifth. I'm not gonna talk about myself like all companies. Topps is working through the pandemic like everyone else. I'm fine, and I'm fine. But no, I mean, I think this has been for me as personally gratifying as business gratifying. So
Oh, of course.
yeah,
Dude,
like,
that's so much better than.
so like to really answer the PC, I don't collect a ton, but Frank Thomas is my guy. Big Hurt was always my guy growing up, so he's probably my favorite. I actually love the A's, man. Being a child of the '80s, Big Mac and Canseco and Ricky and Harry
Yeah,
Stein,
yeah.
Dave Stewart. I love that team, man. I love that A's team. So I've got a few like Big Mac cards back in the office and some Frank Thomas cards.
Yeah.
I'm like Ron Kittle, if you know, like Ron Kittle and Lamar Hoyt and Ozzie Guillen and some of those guys from the '80s. I got some of their cards, but
Nice.
I got plenty of old '80s cards at my mom's house.
Yes, don't we all? Don't we all, man? That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love
So
that.
I have a question. Do you have any
Duck down
plans
so they can see
in the
you.
near future for other
Duck
artists?
down so they can see you.
Any plans in the near future for other artist collaborations on cards?
On trading cards with Project 2020 or something different?
Well, like Blake did with Ben Baller. So like two artists coming together on a card.
Operating on their own 2020 card. Well, I will say, like, to answer like a two-part question, we do have a lot of artists that have come to Topps, and even some people that we talked to about the project that didn't have time, that we are not Project 2020, but could feature in other trading card sets, inserts, things like that. As far as other artists working on collabs, not that I've seen, Tony, but it's not happening. But I haven't seen it yet.
Right. Fan questions.
yeah, I got a couple more fan questions, Jeff. If you're okay to stick around.
Yeah,
for
man, I'm good. I'm good.
We appreciate it. Thank you so
Hey, it's
much.
11:23. It's been 1 hour. You guys are champions. Hey, we're at the 1 hour mark, so let's go ahead and shout out this again.
Yes, go to eBay.
Brian Gonzalez with Viking, not worldwide, right? Viking Worldwide?
I don't think it is Viking Worldwide.
No, because it was Prestige Worldwide.
Yeah, where's the sticky note I gave you?
You flipped it around. You flipped it around, and then you wrote a different note, Tony. Okay, sorry guys.
This is true. This is accurate.
Okay, being auctioned right now on eBay. Link down below. Viking Global.
There we go.
Viking Global. I just remembered.
Viking.
Brian Gonzalez is Viking Global.
Thank you,
Partnering
Brian.
with them. Viking
Thank you.
Global Foundation. Auctioning this off. Last I checked, I think we're at 4K.
Wow.
If we get to 5K, Viking Global is doing a 3X match. So that means they are going to match up to 5K, 3X. So if we do 5K, we're going to give 20K to Food for the Frontline.
Yes.
Care of Peter Stuyvesant Little League. It's amazing.
Yes.
Get it while you can.
We'll
Back
post
to
the
the
link.
questions.
We'll post the link
Sorry,
again.
every once in a while I just pop in for an ad.
Yes. And we're back.
And we're back.
All right. Here's a question from Amy. Shout out to Amy and Joe from Canada. Amy's Bond13 on Twitter. Jeff, what restrictions, if any, do you have for the art that is submitted by artists for Project 2020?
Great question.
So I'll tell a story about Blake, but and Blake's already told it. But like
Yes.
for us, it's really our team really does not have any restrictions on the creativity that the artists come to it. Our whole what we came to the artist with is you guys reimagine these cards. You guys are artists. I am 100% not an artist. There are some guys on my team that are, more in the art world and do art directing for Topps. But we don't come to the artists and say, here's what you can and can't do. The major things that we look at are trademark violations and things that we think that our partners at Major League Baseball, might have issues with. In particular, things around the logos. If the artists do things to the logos, teams are a bit sensitive about the logos. So we try to give as much creative freedom as we possibly can. There have definitely been some cases where from a intellectual property and trademark standpoint, we get into like, God, I'd love to do that, but we can't. Topps doesn't own the rights to it. We can't grant the rights to certain cards. And then I think one other thing is as the world we live in is, it's just challenging times and very, unique and crazy times. Definitely artists are wanting to, showcase and put as much on cards as they possibly can. And personally, I'm all for that. And I think artists should have as much freedom as they possibly can. I work for a company. Major League Baseball is also a company. So like there are certain times where, we don't want to be too controversial, I'd say. But at the same time, I'm not saying here's what you should and shouldn't do. And Blake's story comes back to the McGwire card. And the reason why we didn't pick the 85 McGwire card is we don't have the rights to USA Baseball anymore. So I think Blake did it in a really nice way. And we made him, put the uniform number on from when he played in Oakland. So, yeah, I mean, there are times when artists submit stuff and it looks amazing, but it's like, we don't have the rights for that, or, hey, we can't feature that. But it's few and far between.
Okay. So someone just asked in the comments, I believe it was John Craig, asked about F. Black Lives Matter. I'm not exactly sure what that refers to. Did he maybe put BLM on his Jackie Robinson card? Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I this might be from guys in the F. stream, but what he did is he put MLB backwards, and so when I looked at it, I was like, oh, the MLB logo is backwards, and it was really Black Lives Matter. So like,
That's brilliant.
it was
That's brilliant.
It was great. I mean, I wish we could put
Genius.
that.
F. is a freaking genius.
He's good, man. He's really good. So like, man, it's one of those things. I wish, we could do things like that, but it's not a Jeff Heckman decision, right? I don't run the company.
So you weren't allowed to do the BLM on the F. card?
It wasn't necessarily even the BLM. It was just, as far as making the cards, having statements, or like really it was the baseball logo too, is like when Major League Baseball looks at it, it was their logo. And I think that when you get into things, and I think artists donating and doing things, do whatever, they should do whatever they please. But when you commercialize things like that, it just is something that's different.
Sure.
And again, I'm not sitting here and saying that it's right or wrong, or I wish we could do it. But unfortunately, in that case, it just, we didn't include it on the card.
Well,
I think there was a lot of other cards that talked about the pioneer and what Jackie was, and talked about justice, and, that had nods to what he meant to the civil rights movement. But as far as, Black Lives Matter, yeah, that we asked Eric to take it off the card.
I'm just curious, just a follow-up question there, because Topps put out a statement in support of Black Lives Matter. That's correct, right?
Yep.
And MLB did as well.
Yep.
And so when I see BLM, I don't think of the MLB logo backwards. I think of Black Lives Matter. So I'm just curious, was that a discussion you guys had? And was MLB kind of the ones leading the charge to take BLM off of that?
No, it was Topps. It was Topps.
Oh, it was Topps.
Just, yeah, it just was probably erring on the side of caution. Again, not that we don't support it, but it just is, like as far as, and I do think there are some political messages in the cards, and if you look at some of them, and I think that's great. I just think that at the time with Jackie Robinson, and also too, if you look at the players and the estates, like I don't want to always speak for other people other than what's going on. So I think, for me, it was more the logo backwards than anything else. It wasn't, because the first time I saw it, I didn't even see Black Lives Matter. I didn't think that at all, because it was really the MLB logo backwards. And then FDOT and the team were like, oh, it's Black Lives Matter. Sure. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, like, that's cool. So, like, I mean, maybe if it was represented in a different way, Matt.
Sure.
I just think the way that it was represented was more like, it just looks like, because if MLB is, because the letters were even backwards.
Do you think with the BLM and the MLB logo backwards, it would sell less copies of the card?
Do I think we'd sell less?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Probably sell more.
Tony didn't like that question. It is fine. It's totally fine. Hey Jeff, I'm just curious to follow up one more time with this, because you mentioned earlier when I asked about artists and any restrictions you had on them, it was really about copyright. So I'm just curious. I guess, what was it? Do you think it was kind of like a shot at MLB to have the logo backwards and have it as BLM?
No, I don't think it was something like that. I just think it was in the times that we live in. I think, the way that, these cards are, like, look, people can say that there's politics, there's not politics. I don't think Black Lives Matter is politics. Some people do, right? Sure. I'm not here to say anything one way or another. I'm not going to espouse my beliefs and what I believe in and what I say. And I support everything Black Lives Matters are doing, but this isn't, again, Jeff Heckman and what's being done. So it was really just erring on the side of caution. They're baseball cards. I think the artists have put a lot of things on there. When I say not just trademarks and things like that, there's also things that we don't want controversial things in the cards. Sure. And I'm not saying that Black Lives Matter is controversial. But we also don't want it to look like we're profiting off something. That's where the commercial aspect of it comes in, right? So, there's a lot of things that have happened in the world. And I know there's a lot of artists that have wanted to pay tribute to George Floyd and some of the things that have happened. And, I think there's a lot of things that we can do to donate, but to, out and out commercialize that, like, is our baseball cards the right way to do that? I don't know. And I don't want to get in a situation where, like, we're making, judgments on what is, right and what is wrong. And the least fair part of my job with Project 2020 is looking at this artwork and having to look through it to make sure it's like, okay, so to speak. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's art. But because it is being sold, and because it is under the MLB umbrella, and because it is Topps, and because, there are things that can happen from a legal standpoint, we just have to be always careful. That's all.
Sure. Makes sense. Thank you for answering all of those follow-up. I really appreciate it. So we mentioned Sophia Chang earlier, and I think she was actually in the chat. I know the overwhelming majority of designers, or I guess I should say the overwhelming majority of people who design baseball cards are probably men. Are you pleased with just having one woman in among the artists for Project 2020?
No, I wish we had more.
Okay.
I think we've done, and I wouldn't say it was intentional. I wish it was intentional. I think we've done a pretty good job of getting a diverse group of artists, to come and be a part of this, as far as, where they were born, race, nationality. Women, yes, I think we probably fall short on that regard. I'd love to have more representation from women that are designers, that are in the hobby in general. Yes. And I think you'll see that more from Topps. I think we like to think of the hobby as being very inclusive. So, again, it wasn't like, we weren't, looking for more women. It just, Sophia was one that happened to be, a woman that did it. And I think when you see us do something next year, I hope that we get a lot more women in it. I hope that we can find and have women that want to do it, right? So it's not that Top doesn't want to do it. It's just a matter of finding the right designers, and Sophia can help us. And, I'm sure there's plenty of people that if they have, suggestions, we'd want to have the most diverse group of artists out there that can bring all their perspective to trading cards.
Gotcha. Yeah. Just last, I have a positive question. So,
I don't think these are negative, and like,
great. I don't either.
I'm trying to do the best I possibly can. I mean, there's always going to be things that are slightly like that Topps does things one way or another, and people aren't going to like it or aren't going to agree with it. But and I'm just one person working on the brand. So again, I think Topps for the most part does stuff to, do the right thing as many times as possible. And there's times where people want to see us do more, and there's times where people think we do too much, right? So it's hard in this day and age to please, everyone. And it's not like we're trying to please everyone. We're trying to, do the right thing and, create the greatest baseball card we possibly can.
Yeah. And shout out to Sophia Chang. I think I just saw her in the chat commenting. So Sophia, your work is awesome. We appreciate it very much.
Sophia has a card tomorrow, by the way. Everybody, Sophia's got a card coming tomorrow. She could maybe tease it for you, but it's an awesome one. One of my favorite ones in the set. So make sure you go on the site tomorrow and buy Sophia's card. It's cool.
Go buy it. Topps.com. So Jeff, you just mentioned sort of your least favorite part is kind of checking the cards and seeing if there's anything that you might need to address on the cards. What is your favorite part kind of the day-to-day operations or your job of Project 2020?
I think it's probably a combination of seeing the artwork for the first time from the artist, just how, what their take on the cards are and just how creative they get with it and where their inspiration comes from. That's probably number one. And then number two is just to, go on social media or go on message boards and see the response to Project 2020 every day. It's cool. It's fun. It's become addictive for me in the best kind of way.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for answering all my questions. I really appreciate it very much. And I'm going to let Blake jump in here.
Bam.
Cool, man. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
This is great. Are you good on time?
I'm cool, man. I'm cool.
Okay, cool. I just like, hear you talking to the team, and it sparks some things in my thought, in my mind. So what I'm curious, and it actually works well because you said Sophia Chang's card that's coming out is one of your favorite in the set. Do you have, and I'll preface this by saying you can exclude all of my cards and assume they don't exist. Do you have a favorite card in the set of Project 2020 so far? Like for me, and I'll start. Ermsey Trout. Yeah. And so like when the Topps guys came to my studio, Brandon and Michael came to film me when I was painting Nolan. I had not seen any of the other artists' work. And Brandon said, "Hey, you want to see some of the other art?" And I said, "Of course." And he brought up his phone and he was showing me some stuff. And when I saw the Ermsey Trout, I'm just like, oh my gosh, these guys are going so hard. Like I really got to step my game up. And that card inspired me to actually change the Nolan just a little bit and switch it up. So do you have any favorite card? To me, it's the Ermsey Trout, but if you have any favorite card, I'd love to hear it.
It's like asking me to pick my favorite kid, right? So
I know.
Here's my very honest answer.
Yeah.
So Ermsey was one of the first artists that we got to sign up and see his cards. So like the first few, and Blake, you were probably in the middle, as far as like, getting artists to sign on. Like the first few when we saw cards, like it was even better than we imagined. When we saw Ermsey's first couple, I think Ted Williams was maybe his first. We were like, oh my God. Yeah. We were like, almost like, are we going too far? No. Like, is this too far for baseball cards? Like, so like Ermsey's stuff is sweet. I think each artist, I probably have my favorite from each artist as far as what they've done. And I will say from the artists, man, you guys are stepping up your games. Like every card's like, I thought it started out great and they just keep getting better and better. I know a lot of the artists are doing research and really getting into players' careers and lives and, putting in little things and little, Easter eggs about what they've done, and people are putting in things about what their passion is. If they're passionate about comics or Star Wars, all sorts, like, so it's cool, man. I mean, I love seeing them. Very rarely do I get a card and I'm like, oh man, I don't like this. I mean, like, I love them all. I think I'm like a father in like a really weird way. When I see the cards and people go on social media and they're like, easy pass, or I hate it, I'm just like, I almost want to jump in and be like, come on, guys.
No.
These guys and girls are pouring their heart and soul into this, like it's, hey, it's art. I keep telling people it's art, and it's not for everyone, right? Everyone has different reactions to art, including me.
Yeah.
So it's like, some of them is going to be like, this is amazing. Other people are going to be like, this is interesting. I'm not sure what to think, or I don't like it, or hey, this rubs me the wrong way, or like, why did they do this? This offends me. There's some cards that people have gotten offended by that I've looked back on them and I'm like, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Right? So Matt was asking that question.
I'll tell you what, man, I think like, and again, this goes back to like the tiny paintings thing, right? And Topps, what I think, doing an excellent job curating such a diverse, cool group of people with a very diverse crowds, right? Like I've been turned on to a lot of artists through the project, and they all have their own fans. And like, what you got to understand is like us 20 artists, like a little bit of people hating our art is par for the course. And it's almost like, I mean, I look at it as if I don't paint something that at least a couple people are like adamantly against, then I didn't push it enough. And like, I didn't do my job, because I think that if I can start conversations and I can like start this, like the story around the art more so than like just the physical piece of art itself, then I feel successful. So like, I don't know, when I see people being like, mad at, whatever about one of my cards, I'm like, okay, good. At least people are looking and they're paying attention, and it's not for everyone, and that's totally fine.
No, that's a good point, right? And I'm not, an artist myself, so like I'm probably more sensitive, and you want to be liked, and you want everyone to 100% approval on all your stuff. But you're right. I think that especially in today's day and age, and even when we're doing the Project 2020, like the worst response you can get is blah.
No response at all. Yeah, no comment.
I mean, like the other part that I probably should have told Matt, like I love like looking at my cell phone or my watch or like my computer around 11:30 and seeing the anticipation build, and then I can kind of go to our back end of our site and see all the traffic build for people like seeing what's going to be on the site. Like that's super cool, right? And then I get to see what people react to, and then once the card comes up, then I go on social media and it's like, what's the response? Is it similar to mine? Do they see things that I see? And also, too, there's plenty of times where they see things I don't see, like, oh, my God, this is so cool because of this, or I hate this because of that. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. That's cool, right? So that's a perfect example of, FDOT, not to go back to this with his, Black Lives Matter thing. Like, the first time I looked at it, I was really like, that's the MLB logo backwards, because that's what I'm mostly looking for.
Right.
I'm mostly looking for trademark stuff. I'm not really looking for anything else that's like controversial. So then one of the guys texted me and was like, dude, that's Black Lives Matter, just MLB turned backwards. And I was like, oh. I was like, I just had never seen it represented like that.
Stay, like, whatever, printed or not, I think like Eric is a genius.
Yeah, no, I
love his work, man. And he's like another great example. Like, and we're like, we live or work 2 or 3 miles away. Like Tony went today to meet with FDOT in person and chat about some stuff. I've never even met FDOT personal in live myself. And Tony went today, like he left my studio for a couple hours, had a meeting with FDOT, came back to the studio. Like he's down the street from me and his work is amazing. And like, it's so cool, man.
He's in Brooklyn.
He's down the street, bro.
Right across the bridge.
Is he really?
He's down the street.
Yeah, right across the bridge.
He's down the street.
Is he really?
It's just
Blake, when this all gets done,
Miles away.
he's closer. He's how far do you live?
2 miles.
2 miles.
Oh, double the
Yeah,
distance.
he's not quite down the street, but okay.
He could city bike.
I
Yes,
walk
that's
there.
fair.
He could city bike here.
Okay, that's
So
fair.
that's down the street.
Collab.
Anyways, these fucking guys.
Collab.
Yeah, no, we're gonna collab for sure. We're gonna have him to the studio. We're gonna do a live stream where like he and I are painting live we're gonna, I don't know, doing card art or doing something. It's gonna be amazing.
cool. Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 based in New York. Talk to Sophia, JK5, Andrew Thiel,
Yep.
I think I'm probably leaving someone out besides you and F-Dot. Am I leaving one out?
Who else is in the city? No.
Philly, but
Sophia's
yeah,
a teenage girl originally.
I'd love to be able to all get together, the art gallery thing I think will be cool and more of a formal gathering, but I'd love something informal. We all can have a happy hour, maybe people in the area, we can invite them and, all get together in a social distancing kind of way and all, have a beer or a cocktail or something like that. But yeah, man, I mean, I think that's that's so cool that you guys are all talking, working together. I know the guys came out and met with you. I think I was out of town or traveling somewhere, so I would have loved to. And Gregory Siff came by the office. Coolest dude ever.
Dude, he's so cool.
I thought he was going to drop in for like 15 minutes, and it was right after he, signed up to be part of the program, and just he was coming through New York and just kind of get a little bit of talk about the program. He was there for 2 hours. Natural was actually the first guy that came to the office, and he was also too. Natural, he didn't want to leave. He was looking at uncut sheets. He was so intrigued by printing techniques. We had guys that were doing superfractors and chrome cards, talking to him. So, and I'd love to have all the artists to the office at some point.
I can't believe I didn't make it in there. Oh, I'm so close. The other one, did you say, I don't know if you said JK5. I think he's also in New York.
No. Yeah, I thought I mentioned JK, but JK and
he seems so chill too. So chill.
One of the guys, Brandon, bikes over to his house and he gets his originals and then scans them. So it's cool. Yeah, it's actually Brandon and I have talked about getting some ink from JK when this is all done. So we'll see. Brandon wants his Ichiro card. Brandon's a huge Ichiro guy.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool.
That's awesome, man. Hey, so I thought of this question earlier. All right, right behind you, above that door, looks like you got some paintings up there.
Dude, that's from my son. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to? Are they stuck to the wall? You want to show any of them, or how?
Let me see. I'll see if I can even move my computer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're. Yeah, I think that might. This is my. So
nice.
Now it's my wife and my room, but this is my son's. My son's name's Dylan. I don't know what age he did this in. I'm trying to get the computer configured right. Oh, there we go. That's a little better.
Yeah, I got it.
Good stuff.
That's how everyone's got sort of the backgrounds in their office. And this is mine. I sort of wedged myself into the corner.
We got the white shelf here, but I can tell you, man, we have so much. Matt and I. So Matt, I don't know if I forget if I told you, but Matt and I are starting a podcast called Pretty Big News, which actually would be another awesome thing, I think, to get you involved with. I know Matt asked the hard questions, so you don't have to answer now.
Good, man. It's all good.
But Matt and I are setting up kind of a adjacent desks to each other, and we're going to have memorabilia shelves behind us. Right now it's just a white wall, but I've got my whole Mark McGwire. I've got that's the crazy thing is how generous people are in this hobby is, I told my story about how I collected cards as a kid, fell out of the hobby for a long time, and this really got me back into it. And I told people I love Mark McGwire. I love Buster Posey. And people just started sending stuff. So now, even last night, we did Mail Mondays. So every Monday, we're opening mail from fans. And some of the stuff is a Beckett to sign and send back, or some cards to sign. And some of it's literally just super legit cards. So the PC's growing fast, and we're really excited to build our memorabilia walls. So we'll have a cool background soon, but for now,
nice. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you on the podcast.
Yeah. So
Jeff,
what Matt and I are trying to say is, when are you available? Let's pencil it in. But yeah, man, this has been so much fun. I'm so grateful. Like I said, starting off this call, the day that you emailed me, man, changed my life. And
hey, it wasn't me, man. I mean, it was Tops and everyone else, man.
You saw me on Paul Rapel's thing, right?
Yeah, but we're honored to have you in the program, man. I mean, honestly, you and all the artists, it's so awesome what you guys have done. You guys are what makes Project 2020, right? You guys are the players, right? And we're just
you guys are GMs.
We're the ground.
Man, you're playing Moneyball, and you're winning.
We're like the ground crew.
You guys are crushing it.
We're like the ground crew from Major League, the movie Major League. But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. We're you guys are awesome, man. It's so great that you're a part of it. I'm glad to see like how awesome this has been for your art and for your work. I mean, that's just a really cool, like byproduct of this whole thing, man. Like, I mean, if you sold 10 cards or 75,000 like you did for Trout and hopefully more down the line, like, I'm just excited that you've taken to this so much, that you've been like such a great, evangelist for this whole thing, for lack of a better word, like how you get everyone on the live streams, how you interact with all the fans and all the people that collect Topps cards, man. Like, we couldn't even imagine more. If I tried to put together an agreement with you and I asked for this, like, I couldn't even think of all the things that you've done for us. So, man, this is incredible, dude. I can't thank you enough. As I mentioned, and I'm serious, I think there's a lot more to come with you and some of the other artists. So we'll be as we are.
Sign me up. Yeah, I'm down.
We'll be in touch, not only for 2020, but some other things that I want to work with you on. So, yeah, dude.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I literally can't tell you how much it means to me. It's
cool, man.
It's life changing, man. It's big.
Well, dude, we'll celebrate with a beer or a cocktail soon, man. And
I'm gonna get you upset. I mean this, bro. I'm gonna send you my first 7 on good faith that you're gonna buy the other 13.
All right, man. Okay. All right, I'll do it, man. I'll do it.
We're gonna make this happen. And
my son,
yeah, and I'll store them here. We'll just start a Jeff box.
No, it's all good, man. My son.
Yeah.
All right, my son. I'll do it for you, man. My son has started to collect more, and I get samples. Luckily, at Topps, so my wife's like, no more boxes, no more card boxes.
Mente cartoon. That sample is insane, dude. Yeah.
Dude, I have a Trout one as well that I didn't show you, because I'm not sure we're going to do it.
Who's Trout?
It was a field Trout. It was a field Trout.
What's that?
I don't think we're going to do it because of the way that it's printed and the type of substrate it's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got those two. My son's like, let's put them on the wall. And my daughter's 2 now. She always comes into my bedroom and she goes, "Where's my baseball card, Daddy? Where's my baseball card?" So I have to show her in my closet, and she tries to pick it up. But
we're gonna send some card art, man. We're gonna change it. You'll see.
I'll buy some cards, man. I'll support the cause. I'll throw in a few shillings for Tom.
That means a lot, man. I know Tony wants to say goodbye. I'll let Max say goodbye too, and then we'll sign off with the regular Stay Awesome. We're also going to plug the eBay auction, which we're getting close to that 5K already.
Yeah, I'll tweet that out too.
Yeah, we'll tweet it out. All right, Tony, take it away for a second.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Hey guys, Blake, Tony, Matt, it was a real honor and a pleasure. Thanks for doing it, man. Hopefully I could, expound a little bit of information to all the great people that are collecting Project 2020. And for those that watch or see this, I and Topps can't thank you enough for making Project 2020 what it is. Blake and the artist are the engine, but you guys are really the car that makes everything go. So thank you.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So like I said, I got to plug this just one more time. I know I'm like a walking advertisement sometimes, but this is dope. It's one of one. There's literally just one of these that exists. It's my Mark McGwire card. It's got 3 signatures, red, white, and blue on it with my hologram sticker.
One of one.
One of one. And it says one of one right on the top of the card. We've got the Beckett magazine, Beckett Sports Card Monthly, same thing, matching red, white, and blue auto. Number 1 of 1. This is on eBay. There's a link down below. I'm working with Brian Gonzalez of the Viking Global Foundation. So amazing. We are going to be doing a 3-to-1 match up to $5,000 on the eBay auction. We're already close to that, which is amazing. So it means if that card sells, or this package, not just a card, this priceless package sells for $5,000, that means that we're giving $20,000 for Food for the Frontline in New York in partnership with Peter Stuyvesant Little League. We're very excited and grateful to be working with them. And I'm super grateful for this conversation and for Topps 2020 and you guys watching. Literally, we have 226 people on here right now live. We've been live for an hour and a half.
It's nearly midnight. Yeah.
And it's nearly midnight. And time
for me to get some dinner, Blake.
Yeah, it is. It's time for me to get some sleep, man.
Yeah. All right, dude.
Grinding. We were up late last night. So I had actually a really nice, relaxing weekend with my girlfriend, Laura Mayhew, in North Carolina. and it's really nice. It was good to get away from the screens for a while, and now I'm back to the screens, and so we've been just going nonstop. And like,
Where were you in Carolina?
So it was originally one of her best friends, Cooper Harris, was going to get married, and the wedding was planned. And obviously, because of everything that's going on, it got pushed back to the same time next year. But my girlfriend Lauren was the maid of honor, and so a couple close family members and us and like close friends all still kept our tickets, and we went and we had kind of an engagement party, and just like it was relaxing. It was so amazing. And so,
what city in North Carolina?
So we're like Raleigh, Durham. We spent a lot of time in like Hillsborough, and like kind of town little strip. You know, it's amazing. There's like it's this very old school, like early 1900s architecture. There's like 3 or 4 restaurants on the whole strip, and we went to all of them. It was amazing. And yeah, so that was cool. But then also, like, you know, I come back and, you know, work never sleeps. And so we were up late last night, really working on these McGwires, getting the other like normal autos out the door. And yeah, anyways, I'm stoked, man. Yeah, man. It's like, anyways.
Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. Everybody, for you watching, you already know, stay awesome. Jeff, we'll catch up soon, bro.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
Yeah,
Man.
you're the best.
Thanks, bro.
See you. Stay awesome.